Hi, I'm Don Hershauser. I have been a parishioner at St. Matthew's for about 21 years. Moved here from Atlanta and I am married to a wonderful wife, Lori. She's of 36 years this past June. And we have we have one child. I have two children, a daughter who lives in Melbourne, Australia, and a son who is in the U.S. Navy for the last 10 years. Cradle
Catholic home.
Yeah, I went to Catholic school through elementary school and then public high school from there. Yeah, Catholic home, very Catholic home, and where, the four of us, in our family, I'm the oldest of four.
People might recognize you from the guy who's always ushering.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to me about how that came to be.
Yeah, they recognized me in two different forms, okay? One of them was I was a Boy Scout leader for 22 years. Obviously, my son is an Eagle Scout. I was here at St. Matthew's. I ran the Boy Scouts for all sides of the Boy Scouts for several years, working with Monsignor McSweeney and Father John. But I've also, most people recognize me more recently as I've been an usher at St. Matthew's for the last 18 years. And it was I got involved in that because I saw my personal need for delivering service back to my church. And it just seemed like an easy vehicle for me. I knew the people that were ushers already, and so it became an easy vehicle for me to kind of integrate into. 18 years as the usher at the 1045 Mass, almost every Sunday.
So let me back you up. You said picked up service from the church. Tell me what that means.
So what I really believe in is that we have a responsibility as people to deliver service to our communities, and the community is various different things. And in this case, I'm talking about the church community, and I think it's important to deliver that back. And it's I'm going to say it maybe incorrectly, but it's put me in a position where I listen more than I speak. It forced me to listen to God more often because I see various people in my usher duties, and it's brought me closer to God, in the process of doing that. I was a shop teacher in Monroe Woodbury High School, just outside of West Point, about 6 miles away from West Point. And like most teachers back in the late 70s, early 80s, I came to the realization I couldn't survive on a teacher's salary, so I do supplemental jobs. And one of the things I did was I was a counselor for the school juniors to find jobs, and not to find jobs, but to find what kind of education they would need to have the job that they aspired to. And so I looked through the same catalog that they would look through and talk to them, and I realized that there was jobs in IBM that was dominant in that mid-Hudson Valley. And what I did was I realized that I could make a lot more money working there, and so I became an educator for IBM. They hired me actually as a motivational psychologist, so I helped people feel good about their jobs. And did that. It was a great role. I moved into a sales career, and ultimately I worked for IBM for about 39 years, just shy of 39 years, and retired about 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago. And so I've been retired since, play a lot of golf, do a lot of work. I work with the USO on a real regular basis. I used to run the disaster shelter here.
Let me back you up.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the USO.
So I've been working with the USO, and Lori has been as well, but the USO I got involved with, and we got involved with because our son's in the Navy, and he would travel a lot when he was going to different training exercises, and he would always say, the USO is a bunch of nice people, that serve there. You and Mom, you're nice people, you should work there too. And we thought, well, he's on the West Coast, we're not going to get a chance to see him much. So we started doing that. And it's basically a hospitality activity at the airport, and over about the last year and a half, I've been working with the honor support team at the USO, which welcomes back fallen warriors off flights, with their coffins and and their families there. So I think I feel much more of a contributor taking care of families that are welcoming their fallen, loved ones back. Your heart hurts.
What is that like, being there and being a part of that?
So it is it's a mixed feeling. Okay, clearly I'm honored, and I feel very blessed to be there to support somebody, in some capacity. I feel like we all have the need to want to hug somebody when they're at their hardest times, and so I feel fortunate to be there. And my heart hurts, because the pain that they're going through, or you can imagine the pain that they're going through. And nobody, unless you've experienced it, you don't know. But I think it's been a good thing. It's given me great. It's a great honor to do this for our military, personnel and their families. So, our son is in the Navy, and he's been there almost 10 years now. It'll be 10 years, in a couple of months. But he went through a very dark period. I mean, he tried to get into an academy, and he got the Kings Point Academy, Merchant Marines, and got declined at the very last minute, and went off to App State and basically flunked out. But as we all know, trying to get into academy, you got to have pretty much smarts. You got to be pretty good, intelligent to get into that. And he failed out. And instead of taking that down point in his life, which was failure when you were perceiving a great direction in your life, he decided to enlist in the Navy, and he is now he operates the nuclear reactor on a ballistic missile submarine, and couldn't be happier with his career. And it taught me through his example that you can't stay in your lows. You kind of got to dig yourself out of the hole, and it was just one of those examples of, there's many examples, I guess, of ways that you can elevate yourself out of lows and go into highs. And his example was something that sustains me frequently, on staying positive.